All right, so let's share. And every so often I will stop as well just to see whether there are any comments and things as well. So welcome, welcome, welcome to this evening's Overwhelm Audit Workshop. My name's Selena. I'll introduce myself shortly for those who are new to me. And I will talk about, as I said, what we are going to dive into. So this is going to be an hour of actionable content. Is not going to be fluff and data for later, and there's going to be quite a lot of exercises, checking in, and things as well to keep us all going. So let me get straight into it as well. So, as I said, welcome to the Overwhelm Audit Live. We're going to talk about why overwhelm happens. We're going to talk about helping us to identify our overwhelm triggers. I'll be sharing some practical tools and strategies, and also how to when we experience in stress in different situations. I'm going to talk a little bit about stuff and also a little bit of action planning as well. And there'll be time for any questions. And as I said, for anyone that is watching on the replay, obviously they can, feel free to pop those in there. So let me introduce myself. As I said, if you're watching live now, or for those that don't know me or are new to me, I'm Selena. I'm a leadership strategist and founder of Caterpillar to Butterfly, and I help CEOs and leaders to lead with clarity, confidence, and calm. So whether that's looking at systems, whether that's looking at the holistic you, thinking about your team, and thinking about techniques and tools that you can use, that is all my focus. So as I said, whether you are watching live or on the replay, again, as I said, there'll be plenty here today. So, as I said, this is all. Ooh, stop sharing. Okay. So, apologies about that. So, as I said, welcome to the Overwhelm Audit Workshop. Again, this is all about helping you to regain clarity and energy for, your CEO role and for leaders. Today, we're focusing on practical steps, as I said, that's going to help us to reduce overwhelm. And if you do want to go a little bit deeper, I'm also going to talk about my 6-week Success by Design CEO Mastery Program. And I'm going to be sharing a special gift with you at the end as well that you can use. So, as I said, this is what we're going to be talking about. But let's dive straight into that. So, we get overwhelmed as leaders and individuals for a number of different reasons. There are lots of decisions to make all the time. We're constantly firefighting. It might be that you've got challenges with your team. If you're a leader of teams, whether in business, there's financial pressures, there's lots of unclear priorities. It could be that there's demands, maybe from different sides, whether, it's the marketplace, whether there feels like there's pressure to perform, or again, maybe you haven't got a lot of systems. And I know this from my own experience as well. We're doing things by hand, we're doing things that take a lot of time. It can put pressure on us as well. And we sometimes feel that we're pushed and pulled from pillar to post, different directions, different demands. There's always lots to do. And especially now, life is getting more constant as well. So again, that can make us feel overwhelmed. We might feel in a position, as I said, it might be ourselves. We overthink. There's pressure, as I said, perfectionism. Um, it might be that we think about things ourselves, or, issues with confidence, and that can help make us feel really overwhelmed. So, again, as a quick action point or a quick check-in, as I said, whether you're watching live here or whether you're on the replay, think about what are the things that you find cause you most overwhelm. So is it about having to make lots of decisions? Is it about, you constantly feel like you're firefighting, you're having to do it all, or that you're not sure about what to do, there isn't enough time, there's too much, you can't, people are demanding and you find it difficult to say no? Is it about your confidence? Is it about perfection? Which of these often impact on you. So pop in the chat, as I said, which one is most common for you? Which one do you find? So just give everyone a couple of minutes, as I said, and do share. So take 2 minutes to think about what are the things that are at the top of your list when it comes to overwhelm or stress, whether that's personally, whether that's in business, whether that is a combination of both. So is it, what's top of your list when it comes to causing you stress and overwhelm? Is it that you're getting lots of demands constantly? Is it that you are, you know, you feel like you never have enough time to do the things you need to do? What's yours? And let's make a note of those. All the time as we go through today, we're going to be in actionable steps, as I said, popping these down so that it's getting it out of our heads. I often find as well, when we're clear about what things are doing to us, when we're clear about the challenges that we're having, when we put it down, then it helps us really to identify what some of those challenges are. So take a minute to just really audit and put those things down. Okay. So I'll leave that there for a minute. Okay, so when you've got those down, we're going to go to the next exercise. So we're going to come back to that in a little bit as well. As we're going through all of these exercises, think about what it is. Reflect, start to reflect a little bit. And we're going to be looking for the patterns. We're going to be looking for the commonalities. We're going to be looking at the things, by the end that really stand out for you. And as we get towards or get through this, we're also going to be thinking about what can we do to minimize it? How can we address the issues? And even sometimes just by putting it out on paper, it helps us to get it out of us rather than keep it inside. So another exercise quickly, and as I said, it really just deepens into what we were just saying just now. So in the center, if you've got a piece of paper, you got a notebook. That's one of the things, get a notebook down here. Let's write things down, or even if you're on screen, and you're putting it down. So think about what some specific triggers. So whether it's your team, whether it's decisions, admin, clients, as we started to talk about before. Now, when you've put it down on paper, and you've probably still got it from before, but just add a little bit more to it. What sort of thing that feels most urgent or draining to you right now? So if you had to think of one, is it the team? What is it about that feels the most draining? And again, if you feel, as I said, you want to drop these in the chat, or you want to DM me and let me know if you're watching afterwards, what feels most urgent? What's one trigger? And you don't need to say anything about it, or, the backstory or situation. It's just, as I said, to get it out, first of all, to connect with what it is that's causing you the issue. Because sometimes when we see it, it then helps us once we've got it out on paper. So take a couple of minutes to map out everything that's contributing to that sense of overwhelm. So, for example, if it's the decisions, we'll go with that one. You have some big decisions that you need to make. You feel constantly under pressure. You feel that you're not sure. You don't have enough information. You don't know what to do. There's not enough time. So what we need to think about then once you've done that, so you've got that out, and as I said, share that. As I said, it could be if you're watching on the replay or you're watching with us now, pop that word in the chat, or just get it out. As I said, there's no judgment on there at all, but sometimes just connecting with that. And what we start seeing as well, and as we go through, as I said, hopefully what you will see is sometimes there's common patterns, there's common threads that lie at the heart of our overwhelm. So there might be something that is at the back of it or underneath it when you start to dig deeper. So it might be feeling under pressure, and you might feel, for example, that it's not good enough, not having enough resources, or feeling, so you'll find a common emotion, a common feeling that starts to come underneath. And again, what we also feel as well sometimes when we feel overwhelmed, that it's just us, that we're on our own. And I think the more that we are able to talk about it, it could be looking at now, who do I go to for a solution? Who can I go to for help? Is there a way that I can, sometimes we hold our problems and we don't share them. And actually, just by getting it on paper, just by getting it out, we can see actually others might have that same problem, or there is a solution to deal with that as well. So that's kind of, again, another stage developing on as well. And we're going to look at things in a bit more detail as well. So next stage that I'd like us to look at is what is overwhelming you the most. So again, we've started to pick out some of the key challenges, and we can now see that maybe our challenges that we're experiencing or are overwhelmed are caused by common themes. So as we've done the last few exercises, are they related to team or people of a certain kind, leadership, or those that you're managing or those that you are responsible for? Is it a common theme of making decisions? So is it feeling that you don't have enough information, or feeling the weight of a decision, or being in the mindset of I don't know what to do? Is it about admin and operations, feeling that the practicalities are here, there's too much? And actually, I'll go through it in a minute. Maybe actually we could be supported by better systems, some AI tools, or other tools that will help simplify the workload or the process. Is it about clients and stakeholders, those that you need to deliver to? Are there common challenges or common overwhelms, feeling under pressure around that? Is it about your personal life, or is it about saying no, or boundaries, or feeling that people in relationships, maybe you're saying yes to when you want to say no, or that you're taking on responsibilities that actually are not yours? So maybe it's about that element of delegation, or actually putting some structure in place around how you address things, or how you relate to other people, or relationships in general. Or is there another area, maybe finance, or health, or well-being, or something else kind of that there might be? So take a minute to think about, if you have to pick, one area on a scale of 1 to 5, out of these areas, which is the one that overwhelms you the most? Or, kind of as you go down on a scale of 1 to 5, how much does team and people cause you overwhelm? How much does decisions making cause you overwhelm? And again, thinking about your number and what's overwhelming you the most. Again, what are common themes? What are things that stand out to you the most when you think of these areas? And as you've gone through the previous areas, the previous exercises that we've looked at, again, what commonalities are you seeing? What patterns are you seeing for yourself? And again, there might be, areas to look at as well. Okay. Mm, okay. So let's go to the next stage then. So here I'm going to share with you 3 steps that you can apply to, shift, or, really go through to support you to move forward when you are feeling that sense of overwhelm. And again, these are things that support me. I still experience things all of the time. But again, sometimes it's recognizing what it is that are your triggers, what's underneath the emotional things as well. We know that when we're overwhelmed, it isn't just about the thing in front of us. It's never just about that thing. It's often about what's underneath the surface, what's causing you that stress. And as I said, often, there's a way that it's not about, as I said, what's in front of us. It could be about the past. It could be that we're worried about making mistakes. So when someone talks about something, or we get in a particular situation, it starts to cause us stress. Our brain realizes or recognizes or starts to associate it with this thing. So could be, we get stressed about making decisions because we're worried about back maybe previously when years ago there was a consequence and something happened, and our brain kind of constantly replays that. So again, as I said, what's really important, the first thing is awareness. And it's recognizing what are the things that, cause us overwhelm. Again, this is our body talking to us. This is our mind talking to us. What's really causing us stress? So one action might be that we have so much on our plate, and actually there are things and priorities that we need to focus on. Well, there might be other things that we need to delegate, we need to automate. So by automate, that could be use a particular system. So one example could be that you are constantly, as business owners, as leaders, we are constantly having to write things, we are constantly having to put things on paper, we're constantly having to maybe send emails, send letters, all kinds of things like that. And actually, doing those sorts of things are repetitive. They are tasks that you have to do, and actually, they cause, again, a lot of challenge because they take time. You have to do it a lot. It's tiring. We're writing the same things. And, actually, what we could be doing is maybe building some scripts. And again, that could be a really simple workaround so that you've got a script, you make an adjustment each time. You can, again, give an example about automation. Automation could be email. As I said, you could pre-write some emails that you've got, have some scripts around it, and then there are scheduling tools as well. It could be, for example, calendar bookings as business owners, as leaders. It could be people want to book appointments, and instead, we do the tennis, don't we, within our emails. We're constantly backwards and forwards, so that takes time, that takes energy. Um, could be we've got reoccurring payments, and actually have to keep writing the same invoice, but actually you might schedule it, pre-write it, pre-send it. And it doesn't need to be, as I said, that we're buying a big, massive system or paying massive amounts of things, but you're doing simple things, really little things, as I said, that start small, but actually they help you. So that's the first thing, again, just to go into it, or drop again. So I've spoken about delegate, and again, with delegation, it's also about doing that properly. So often we might feel as a leader that we are afraid to give away the control. We're worried about what if someone doesn't get it right, doesn't get it to the right standard, that we're going to be responsible. It also doesn't mean you give your core of the job away, but it's really thinking about what it is that's the highest priority for you to deal with, that's going to give the biggest results, and actually looking at the other things that someone else with different skills or someone else can support you with. So is it about administration? Is it about making a phone call? What's going to bring the biggest win for you? But actually, how can you be supported? And there are ways that you properly delegate. It doesn't mean, as I said, giving everything away, but there are ways that you properly delegate and properly give away. Or there might be things that you drop. So you don't do. It doesn't mean forever. It might mean don't do right now, for the time being, or for this week, or for this period. And then you constantly review it and bring it back again. So take a couple of minutes to think about through that. What is it that is your absolute priority? What is it that you could delegate? And again, put some structure around that. What is it that you can automate, put a system around it? And what is it that you can drop or can just move to the side for now? So I often call that do, dump, instead of automate, drop, delegate, automate, drop, or do. And next, again, it's thinking about then from that, the start, stop, continue method. So what is it that you're going to stop? And again, these are like your drop things or your parking list. What's draining you with very little return, or what isn't a priority now? Might be a nice to have. What are things that you need to start doing that you're not doing so much at the moment that could bring more ease, more clarity? What is it that you need to continue? So what are the things that work well? What are the things that give you the highest of returns? And what are the things that needs to be your priority? And then alignment as well. And again, this helps us to really focus on what's important is what are our vision and values? What are the things that are going to help us really move forward? And achieve those most important things that you want to, or to help you achieve your goals. What's the absolute 10 out of 10 priorities, the things that need to stay front line, front of mind, and, really connect with you and are going to help you to where you need to go. And that helps us to really look at with our schedules, how do we lighten the load? And there are always going to be things, as I said, that, and again, that urgent, important, non-urgent, non-priority type things as well. There are things that will come up. But again, if you can continue to go through, to filter, to sift, what do I need to do right now? And as you're planning, it could be, you've got an event, for example, that you need to plan. So therefore, there are particular actions that need to be done around that. And you look at your diary and how you plan. Then there are also going to be other things that do need to follow behind and may not be. But again, as long as we're assessing, we're aware, we're conscious of how we're choosing to do the things that we do, again, that supports us. So again, something to think about. Does your current schedule reflect what matters to you most as a leader? And if it doesn't, let's look at how we can shift that and how we can rearrange that. And again, do get in touch if you need a little bit of support around that. So let's take a moment to reflect. Which of these steps, feels like your opportunity right now? Is it about the delegation, the automation, the dropping? Is it about, in the start, stop, continue process? What are the things that are evident to you? Or, have you gone away from your vision, your values? And you're doing things, that are unconnected. So take a little minute to think. As I said, this is, really supports me when I'm on my journey, when I feel, really overwhelmed or things start getting a little bit busy. It helps to pull me back to base, when I hone in on, what is it that is really important? What is it that I really need to think about? And how can I get myself back on track? Actually, sometimes often before I get on that train, my diary, my calendar, my notes, that is the most important thing again. And scheduling and blocking according to this process as well, again, helps us to see, whether we are following this. And as I said, whether we are on overload. So I'll pause a little bit there. And as I said, if there are any questions, comments, or observations, please do go ahead and to ask. All right, so I'm going to talk here a little bit about some more practical systems, more things that you can do to help you feel much clearer, but also ongoing clarity as well. So again, on a weekly basis, you can do it on a daily basis, but particularly on a weekly basis, as we maybe have a day for planning or a couple of points in the week. We know that our brain likes predictability, so that sort of safety, to have a basis of safety. We know also that different things happen. Challenges do come, particularly as leaders as well. But again, to give ourselves that sense of safety and reduce that feeling of overload, and to help our kind of prefrontal cortex, our decision making center, to stay more focused, so that we have a base of safety, a base of structure, no matter what happens. So allocate a couple of blocks, during the week, where you can review how things are working, whether you've got processes in place, maybe any bottlenecks and opportunities to really simplify. So there is something called the 2-minute rule, and you might be applying this already, but if you're not, we know that the brain loves quick wins. It loves to feel like it's moving, and that helps us to feel productive, helps us to feel motivation and to feel momentum. So it could be, for example, that we schedule some time on our diary, and what takes less than 2 minutes. I call that 2 minutes because it might be 10, it might be 15, but something quick task that we can do now, that we can celebrate small wins, that we can do quite easily, and that we can also delegate, or something that we can tick off and our brain goes, yay, I've hit that, yay, yay, yay. Identify those tasks, and it's really important to have a mix of those. Obviously, again, having time for deep work is really important, and using maybe other methods, Pomodoro, or other methods of scheduling when we're focusing on that deep work where our head is down. But it's also really nice to have that tick, 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 quick, quick, quick. Can do this really quickly. I can do this without thinking. So, little story for you as well. One of my previous clients, I'll call her Leanne, um, and realized she was someone who did lots of things in her business. So she had a therapy business, she had a community-based business as well, and a few other things that she did. So there was quite a lot of management that needed to be done in terms of her schedule. She had a couple of people that were working with her, informally. They were working with her. They weren't employed by her, but she needed to have some people and elements of her business. What she realized, though, was that she was taking so much on. She had one particular member of the team who was really, really capable and wanted to learn more, wanted to help a little bit more, particularly around kind of the business areas and some of the community and the client facing stuff. Now, she did everything, and it was causing her absolute stress. Again, kind of feeling that, oh, maybe I can't give this to anyone else, wanting that feeling of control, that feeling of safety, that feeling of, oh, it's on my head. Again, around finance and systems and how she was invoicing people, there were lots of things that felt very manual in what she was doing. And she was getting a lot of business kind of on both ends, but also there were things that she wanted to do in terms of expanding her business. So she wanted to do more retreats using the therapeutic side, but also using the music side that she did. So kind of really bridging the elements of her business together. And she'd been in business for a lot of years, 20 odd years. So this is someone that's thoroughly experienced. She loved what she was doing, but it was starting to become a little bit dry. And that's the point where I started kind of working with her. She was looking at what can she do next, or what does the next stage of life look like? What does the next stage of business look like? Should I, stop? And this was back around sort of pandemic time and just after, and kind of recently. So she had gone through that process of the pandemic the last couple of years as well. And she, was thinking, what's new? What's next? What do I do that's different? How can I keep going? Again, clients' needs were changing, demands were changing. She didn't want to stop what she was doing necessarily, but also was like, there's quite a lot. So one of the things we looked at, and she realized one of her main points said was the delegation, but also systems. So things weren't very technical, they were very manual. She was having to write things by hand. She was dealing with a lot of queries, but often finding that she got the same questions, she got similar things to deal with, and things were manual. And for her, we realized underneath that there was quite a lot about trust. There was quite a lot about having a mindset of a leader or a business owner that I have to do it myself, that I can't get support, not feeling completely that she could trust, but also thinking, right, I have to take on this responsibility. What we started to map out again was really simple systems to support her. Obviously, one to work on the mindset element of herself in business and how she saw herself as leadership. Then also we started to look at that element of delegation and an actual process of how you can delegate, how you can measure effectiveness of those that you're delegating to, and also to work out what are the areas as a business owner, as a leader that is mine that I need to, keep hold of, but also what are the areas then that someone else can do safely, and then how you can measure, track, and make sure you train as well. So it's quite a lot around training people to be able to take on tasks, to be able to delegate. We also looked at delegation in terms of different members of team. that she could work with. So while she had a couple of people, as I said, that were, physically, so the other young man that she was working with, but also how she could use more freelancers, more automation, more AI tools in the way that, that could help her. So there wasn't a pressure on money in terms of I don't have to employ a staff member, put them on the payroll to be able to get help. It doesn't necessarily need to be a long-term contract. So, for example, taking on a VA, and then, for example, looking at AI tools. So, can that produce the report? And then also looking at things like systems as well. So, do I have scripts? Do I have schedulers that people can use? I've got FAQs, so frequently asked questions. She found, as I said, where a lot of people used to ask the same question. Rather than having things done one-to-one, she started having community open days, for example, where she could talk to lots of service users or lots of clients kind of all together rather than doing it individually and doing it by one. So that was an area, as I said, that was a really big win for her. We mapped out that plan and also, like I said, constantly working on that mindset and those challenges around that as well. And then also we tapped into, as we spoke about before, really what she was passionate about. So she could start to see how she could create those retreats, how she could move her business on, how she could work with the type of clients that she absolutely loved, made her excited, and helped her to be that leader that she could be. So really simple processes, simple things that she could apply, um, you know, and routines and breathing and exercises and all of those fantastic tools that she could put in. And as I said, it didn't need to be high tech, but again, enough tech that worked with her, worked with the way that she worked. Enough processes, enough systems. And a system, as I said, doesn't need to be high-powered technology. It's about what works for you as an individual, writing things down, having common ways that things are done. And again, that's something that, again, I teach that in my programs and in my one-to-one work as well. And for her, it freed up 6 hours a week easily. She really was able to cut time down and make a lot more money because she was then using her time in an effective way. So that's just one story. And I have got a number of stories and examples of leaders that I've worked with, whether in business, whether in organizations and individuals, across life. There are examples, as I said, where it comes to family members, even. So around the areas of saying no, not accepting particular responsibilities, and that helps again to free up some time. So when we're saying no, or we're thinking what we're saying no to, again, that frees us up physically, emotionally, and mentally as well. So yeah, as I said, just those are just some examples that there are, and I can share much more. But yeah, we do go deeper in the programs in that as well. So I think I referred to it all earlier on, but again, some more practical tools. We have learned that multitasking increases cortisol, so increases our likelihood for stress. And as much as, I don't know about you, but we probably all grew up in our working life thinking that multitasking, so we start a bit of that, we're on this, we're on that, was a positive thing, but actually it isn't. And we have, come to know recently that it reduces our memory. We also don't necessarily get the tasks at the right quality, and delegation, and really just that single focus helps to free up mental bandwidth. So first, again, action as part of that. List tasks that only take a minute, listen tasks that only you can do. So what are the absolute essentials for this week, maybe this month? And then think about how you can assign to someone else, where you can get some support for, or where you can automate. And as I keep saying, automation, it can be as simple or as not the word difficult, but it could be as simple or it could be as complex or could be as sophisticated as you want it to be. So, let it work for you. So think about, what only you task. So the things that need you, the things that need your presence, the things that need your time the most. And again, everything else that you can park or you can give away. The Eisenhower matrix, again, if we move on to, again, another thing while we're looking at this, you can also think about tasks by your urgency. So what is urgent, what is important, what's essential, and what's non-essential. And again, that helps us to really think about decision fatigue. So, what do I absolutely need to do in your day, in your calendar, in your tasks ahead of you right now? So just kind of, we know those quadrants, putting them down, getting really clear on this is urgent, this has got a deadline on it, this needs to be done by this week, this needs to be done today, and actually has a higher priority than, X other thing. So that we're not focusing on those things that, although things do need nice, solid consistency as well. But there might be something actually, I need to divide my time to focus on this today, but actually this one I can put an hour or half an hour on this, and actually small steps. Whereas this actually is a major priority. So just by having that awareness of what we need to do now, when, and really ordering it and constantly going through that, just making sure things align, constantly going back, seeing if any fires, but also how can we train or support people that are around us to also understand that this is what we're implementing as well. So again, you can put this down. And like we said, our brain loves routines. It loves that start, stop. It might be a ritual that you have when you start your day. It might be something that you do going for a walk. This is what I do to give yourself that little bit pause time and to help you lower your stress that you have. Okay. So if anyone has any questions or comments around that, please do put in the chat or come off mute, or as I said, send me a message if any questions come up for those that are watching on the replay. Okay. All right. All right. So, and I'll just leave us to think about that for a minute. So just thinking about the next part. Okay. We're going to do a quick breathing exercise, a couple of things here. So breathing again really supports us when we are feeling stressed, when we're feeling overwhelmed, and it's always about getting ourselves in that state of calm. So there might be different things that you do to really help you when you're feeling in that. And I'd love to know what are some of the techniques that support you. You might be doing this already. But what I always find is a deep breath. So again, there's a couple of different techniques, and it helps to bring our nervous system down. It helps to reduce cortisol. It help us to feel calm. It helps us to reduce that stress and just like resettle our body. Dancing is another thing, of movement or walking, or for some people it might be running. But with breathing techniques, so we are, and I'm going to do this here now, and you follow on with me as well. So just inhale for 4 and hold, and breathe out for 6. And do that 3 times. So we're going to breathe in, and we're going to hold. We're going to breathe out for 6. And the final time, inhale and hold, and breathe out for 6. And then we can just shake. And I don't know about you, but that just instantly makes us feel. And as I said, even when you're at work, you're in front of people, you don't need to be obvious kind of with it. You can take yourself out, you can go to the toilet, go for a walk, and that just helps to kind of resettle us as well. Another technique that I absolutely love and apply and really helps is another grounding method. So that's the 5 4 3 2 1 method. So we first of all, and again, this engages with our senses. We get back to the present and can really help to declutter our brains. So it could be 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can hear, 3 things that we can feel, 2 that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. So again, just to go through that again, and take a minute to pause and to go through it yourself as well. 5 things that you can see, 4 things that you can hear, 3 things that you can feel, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. So how did that feel? So even if we're able to do that and pause and quiet and just get back into that center, even just 60 seconds, 1 minute, 5 minutes, if you've got 10, brilliant. It just helps us to bring our brains back, to bring that prefrontal cortex back, to get focus and to bring our, emotions back into that state of regulation, back into calm, especially if we're feeling upset, we're feeling angry, we're feeling overwhelmed, like things are heightened. And as they can often do, especially if we've got meetings maybe back to back, or, you've got to make decisions, or you've got maybe a team member or something's happening and you're in that mode as well. So it's about bringing us in that right place so that we can, really make the best decision and operate from that best and comfortable and empowered way as well, which we can talk more on. So again, just reflecting on what we've done, if you close your eyes, notice how you're breathing, think about what's one thing you can let go of right now. So as it comes in, what's one thing that you've reflected on from this session so far? And again, it's also about changing our language as well and changing the way that we see things. So I have to do this, I have to do that. This feels a drain, it feels heavy. But if we shift it to I get to, I choose to, I get to, I choose not to. So we might decide actually we are going to put something on the back burner, but actually we are making the proactive choice that we're not doing that. And it's okay. There's no guilt. There's no shame that needs to be around that, which often we can feel that. So I get to, I'm choosing to delegate X, Y, and Z. So therefore I am choosing not to, because I'm making the choice that this is a priority. And again, open expressions, but if you're having to say that, or you wanting to say, you're explaining it, I'm choosing to, I'm not doing, I get to, which again, that changes the ownership a little bit, doesn't it? That feeling of guilt that doesn't really help us. Okay. So let's go back. So we're going to do a bit of a reflection here. Yep. Okay, before we finish. Okay. So I'd like us to think, and let me go back out of that for a second before I follow on with so excuse technology here for a minute. So let me go back, even if this isn't going back, but I want to take us back because I think it's really important to reflect a little bit. So let me just stop sharing there. Okay, that's it. So I'm going to stop sharing there for a second. And the slides have gone a little bit naughty, but let me stop sharing. That's it, we're up there. And I just want us to, again, before we completely finish here and move on to the next stage, really reflect for a minute. Uh, I know there is a lot that we have gone through today, and there may be lots of uh, questions or comments or things that you have so far. So, so let me just put that down a second. Okay. All right. So let me just go through, as I said. So think about as we start to move or get to the last part of this workshop. We've gone through quite a lot of things today, and I have brought us through a lot of concepts and a lot of things probably that have come up for you today as we have gone through. So, okay, so as we go forward, I think my internet is being a little bit strange today, but I'm going to carry on anyway. And hopefully, as I said, we can yeah, go through this. So as we start to think about what are some small action steps that you can take this week, whether they're big or they're small, and again, things that you can train your brain or go through for lasting change. So I'm going to share a link also to an Overwhelm Audit Action Sheet. So that's going to give you some further prompts as well to go through. Okay. All right, so let's do this. I'll put some further prompts, as I said, in the chat, or I will send them out afterwards as well. So you can open that. And what this goes through again is helping you to really think about what are some things that are causing you challenges, and you can go deeper into it as well. So I will share the replay afterwards. So do reach out again if you're watching this on a replay and you have some further questions again. If you're connected to me on LinkedIn, do feel free to send me a question or message or any reflections that come up. And also, if you want to go deeper, you can join the 6 week Success by Design CEO Mastery Program. So I'm going to talk a little bit more, as I did share about that. And again, by repeating behaviors for 21 to 66 days, it helps us, form new neural pathways. So all about those habits are, and being able to celebrate, the wins along the way are really, really important as well. And it helps to reinforce progress. So again, that's just something, to really leave us with. So, I think sometimes we forget how well we're doing because we know where we want to get to. We forget, um, and it's just really, really important, that we remember that as well. So let me just come back on that for a minute. Okay. So we're almost at the end of the workshop, almost at the end of our time. And as I said, I'm going to share a little bit more about the CEO Mastery Program that starts end of this month. Will start soon in a few weeks. And this is for you. As I said, I'll share the link and I'll share the information. If you're looking to keep this momentum going and you have, and have a structured framework to move forward, to make decisions, then this is the program for you. It's for leaders who want to move forward from quick fixes and want to make lasting change. And also, you need that supportive group accountability. So, if you're curious, I'm happy to arrange a one-to-one, and I'm going to share the link for you to do that. But also, if you want to find out more about the program, and it's at a very special offer at the moment, as I said, I'll share that link so you can have a look at that. And as I said, you can download your Overwhelm Audit Workshop. So again, just very quickly, a few things that we do look at. Let me see if this is going to be playing ball now. I think technology is having a little bit of fun. So, okay. So over our course of the 2 weeks, 6 weeks rather, we are going to be diving deeper into CEO overwhelm. So like we've done today, but on a more in-depth way, we're going to be looking at some self-assessment tools, some stress management techniques and exercises to help you increase your awareness. In week 2, we're going to be looking at designing your success blueprint. So, what does the other side look like for you? What does your clear vision look like? And I'm going to give you a little foot into my harmonized method with goal setting frameworks and vision alignment exercises to help you get to where you want to be. Week 3 is going to be all about optimizing systems for efficiency, how you can streamline your operations, whether you're in business, whether you're working, just the way that you are personally to be more productive, but do it in an easeful way, not hustle. We're going to be looking deep into your systems, looking at your processes, and helping you to identify some tools like we're talking about automation today. We'll be supporting you with that. Week 4 is all going to be about personalized support, some growth strategies, coming up with an individual plan and how you can do that. And again, kind of that personal coaching and feedback as well. And week 5 is about getting balanced well-being. So think about your work-life integration, we'll call it, thinking about how you can think about your wellness, your mindfulness, and create that harmony in your life. And then week 6 is going to be thinking about the long term and legacy and how you can, as I said, really make impact for the future. And think about your goals as well. So, as I said, if a very special offer on this. So pay in full, it's going to be £97, and payment plan if you want to pay by 2 installments, during that time, it's going to be £65 for the 6 weeks. So again, a very special, you know, offer that we have at the moment to be able to support you. But as I said, I will be more than happy to jump on a call with you to go through to find out a little bit more about your circumstances and, where things are working for you. So we are just short. And as I said, I will have the Overwhelm Audit worksheet for you, along with the replay of this as well. And all of those links will be there. So if you have any questions, again, please do pop them on the message or do share those as well if you have them. But other than that, thank you very much for joining me on this Overwhelm Audit Live. I look forward to seeing you again. There's going to be another special live session next week, training session. There's going to be definitely more of these coming over the next few weeks and ongoing. And we're going to start the Overwhelm, the CEO program. As I said, it's going to be coming very, very soon, in the next couple of weeks. So on that special offer, as I said, would love to talk to you. Hope you've had a wonderful evening. As I said, whether you're watching live or on the replay, do get in touch with me if you have any questions. Thank you. Bye.